Suneera Madani. Suneera Madani.
Without much further ado, I'd like to welcome Suneera.
Hi, I'm Suneera Madani, a mom of two, daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who built $1 billion business. Yes, billion. Now I'm doing it again and building my second unicorn, Worth. Shockingly, less than 2% of female founders ever reach 1 million in revenue, and I'm on a mission to change that. At CEO School, we mentor thousands of women to help them level up in business and in life. We believe that you deserve to have it all because honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to CEO School Podcast. I'm your host, Suneera Madani, and today we have something special in store for you. Actually, my podcast manager, Lily, has something in store for you. So over the last several weeks, we have been posting so much on social media. I hope you're enjoying the flavor on social. I feel like I'm like really enjoying being back. And if you have questions, honestly, on how I'm back on social, it's been a daunting process over the last 5 years that I've had a love-hate relationship with it. But I finally feel like it's feeling good. I feel my authentic voice, and I'm really enjoying connecting with every single one of you. So if you tune into the show on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen, I love it. And come back and engage with me. I am literally online. You can ask me anything. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show, any key takeaways, like further questions you have and suggestions or future guests, all this stuff. So I'm on the platform actively on Instagram. Please DM me. I would love to hear from you. And with that, we've been doing a little AMA series, and I want to answer your questions. So she's compiled a list of questions, and I actually don't know the questions. So that was part of this. There's no notes, there's no prep, there's nothing in front of me. And she's going to ask me a series of questions. And as we were sitting down, we're like, what should we call this series? I think this is going to be a really fun series. We'd love to continue to do this and bring all of these raw questions and answers and connect with you back. And I was like, what should be the name of the series? We think we're going to call it CEO Behavior. Yeah. So what's CEO behavior? I don't know. It could be feminine. It could be masculine. It could be fun. It could be serious. It could be all the things. And there is no perfect CEO behavior. And so here I am. We're going to do CEO behavior. I hope you enjoy. Miss Wiggle, welcome to the show.
Thanks. My name's Lily. I am CEO School's podcast producer. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited to do this. I've been collecting questions from the audience for the last, actually, couple weeks. We've been collecting for a minute now. And Suneera wants to keep this businessy, but I'm going to throw in some other questions too. She has no idea what I'm going to throw her way.
Okay.
So first up from Christina has a question about your style, actually.
Oh, okay.
She said, what tips do you have to elevate your executive presence through your style?
Oh, I love that question, Christina. And I love that you said executive presence. That is exactly what it is. That is the big business energy. That is CEO behavior, is to have executive presence. And I think it comes from within. So like the first most important style, like if you are happy inside, it does reflect on the outside. And I will say that when I look back at and cringe at my style through the years, it's also a big reflection of how much time, energy, and effort I put because of how I was feeling inside as well. And so that's my first tip is be kind to yourself, like love on yourself, and wherever you are, it doesn't matter. I don't think style has to do with where your body is at, or like it's really that the energy and how you want to be represented to the world, that executive presence. And so love on that inside of you because it does reflect on the outside. And the best thing that you can wear every day, and I tell my kids this, I'm going to go into mom mode, is your smile. Like that is the best thing that you can wear every day. So that's what I would start with. But on an outfit level or what I'm putting together, I believe that executive presence and CEO style, this is how I show up, and I want everyone makes a first impression about you. So whether whether we believe it or not, and whether it's right or not, it's just how the human brain works. And so when I'm interacting with people, whether it is in person or even when it's on Zoom, I find so often that like we discount the fact that even though it's behind a screen, we're still showing up to people and we still have an image, and people are still assessing and judging and creating their, where they're placing us in our minds and making, whatever their stories are about us, like all of that, these impressions, we're leaving an impression no matter whether it's behind a screen or in person. So I do think that how you show up and how you dress does matter, especially as a business owner, especially as a CEO. And that is super important. So for me, I am really embracing my feminine, and I'm really enjoying still showing up professionally, but in my feminine. And so I've always worn a ton of blazers, and that's just part of being in financial services for so long. I've always worn blazers, but I always try to bring some color into it. And I think colors are also a great way to, share your personality and to bring a pop of like, whether it's spring or whether it's, this season. And I do believe that there are certain color palettes that just look so great on certain skin tones. So doing a color analysis, which is something that I did do, and to understand like what colors actually suit me. And so big, bright, bold colors suit my skin, my darker skin. And there are certain people that look really great in pastels. So learn your color palette. And there are so many tools that you can go learn your color palette with, and professionals that do this, but that was a huge game changer for me. And I do like to still dress professionally, but I like to add that little bit of feminine. And the way I do that, I think an outfit is all about the accessories. And so having a great set of accessories, whether it's your handbag or your shoes and a belt and some jewelry, can really elevate something super simple into something, like more fashionable and just that wow factor. I think my co-founders are like, literally like, Suneera, this, like, the office isn't a fashion show, but I mean, hey, I'm walking in. if I'm putting effort into getting ready, I want to look great. And then when I look great, I feel great. And I do feel like it affects the way that I talk to clients, or I'm more willing to show up on social media or whatever the day brings, but I feel a different level of energy, and I'm more inclined. I feel like I do more in the day. Like when I'm dressed up, whether it's like I'll come home and, whether it's like going on a date night and I can just transition or go to that event or that networker or that happy hour or something that I maybe wouldn't have done, I'm more inclined to say yes and to do things because I'm already put together and I'm presentable. And that for me goes without fail every single day. So every single day, I get up and I put my face on. Every single day I get up and I put, something nice on. And even on days where I don't feel like it, because let's be honest, there are plenty of those days. Not every day I want to show up full on, full heels and makeup. But I have found even my work from home style. So I have found ways to stay comfortable, but still be put together. Even my makeup routine on days from work from home it's definitely lighter, but I still get up and follow that. It's a ritual. It's a habit. It's me getting up and telling myself that I matter and I love myself and I want the world to see me the way I want to be seen. And so that's what I love about what a wardrobe can do, or what an outfit can do, or how we show up. And I do think that that's really great CEO behavior.
What a good answer.
Well, I love it. I love this stuff.
Yeah, that was such a good answer.
I look at moments in my life where I was literally wearing like my same startup t-shirt. Like I cringe at looking back. And I was also like pregnant all the way through the first like 5 years of my startup, where I was pregnant multiple times. I had big baby body. And so like, it was easy for me to wear like those gaucho pants and like my startup t-shirt, but I still always like had a blazer or some sort of like whatever the accessories were. But I feel like it's so much easier now. There's so much accessibility online I feel like I follow such great style influencers too. So I'll like screenshot outfits, and you don't have to go buy new things. Like, I don't think it's necessarily about buying more. I think it's about finding those staple pieces in your wardrobe too, that you continue to wear and rewear. So like investing in some good blazers, some great jeans, some great slacks, some great belts, like those great shoes. Like I do invest into those things because then I can just multi-use, multi-wear. But I will say one truth though, is that I am working on my weekend style. So I have really great work style, but y'all should see me on the weekends. Like I can literally go from looking homeless to $1 billion in a hot minute. And I'm working on the weekend style because my kids, that does matter how I show up for Saturday wear too. But your girl sometimes like just wants to fully lounge out mom bun as well. So it's there.
We got a lot of questions about productivity, motivation, stuff like that. This one was great. How do you stay focused and push yourself when you are tired or just don't feel like doing anything?
Great question. Who asked that question?
Love fashion in the city.
Thank you for that question. Love fashion in the city. It's a great question. And I think it's very relatable. We all feel exhausted. Like there's so much to do. Your like to-do list is never ending. As a CEO, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, like the job will never get done. So I just want you to know that it's never ending. There's always something else to do. And there's a lot of important stuff that you drive. So that list won't end. And that feeling of like burnout and exhaustion, because you're just always doing all the things, it's normal to feel that way. However, the difference between people that are succeeding is that they're showing up anyway, even through times that you're just like, I don't feel like it, you still have to show up. And I know it's hard, and it is hard. And I want to just acknowledge that it is hard. I want you to know that I feel those days all the time. I feel the same way too. There's so many days that I feel that way. And the way that I get through it, honestly, is by just doing it. I know it's hard. You just got to like do the suck. And sometimes you got to do the sucky things, and you just kind of get out of bed and you're like, okay, I find that you have to find that place within, and I'm not going to give you some bullshit like go find your purpose and like do your journal and do your meditation. I don't have a trick to give you that I sit and I do, but the one thing that I do is I just like, I'll get myself out of bed and I'll just get the first step going, or I'll get the first thing done. And you're just like, okay, I don't have to give it my 150% today. So just take that expectation off, and you're like, oh, today's going to be a hard day. I don't feel like doing it, but you got to do it. Like that's what it is. Like you do have to do it. And if I look at the last 10 years and like what made all of it successful and to get to the level of where we got to was we showed up every day. Your every day doesn't have to be at level A plus 1000%, but we still show up. And that's the difference between those that succeed and those that don't, because it's easy. What's going to happen is when you fall off and you're like, well, I don't feel like it today, so I'm just not going to do it today. Well, guess what? You just gave yourself an out. When you give yourself an out, then the next day that you're like, oh, you're going to give yourself another out, and then you won't be able to get back on track. I think that it's just about getting up and moving and going. And so you just got to do it. Like you just got to put your big girl pants on and just get to it. It doesn't have to be at perfection level. It doesn't have to be with your full best effort, but you have to show up. And so the way I find it is just by getting up and going and then rewarding yourself. Like, right? Like if you're like, don't feel like doing it, and then you do something, like you get through the first meeting or you get through the first bit of it, or you put your output out, like praise yourself. Be like, hey, I didn't feel like doing it today, but look, I did it and it feels good, right? It feels good. You're never going to regret that. But that accumulation of that behavior of showing up consistently is what every successful person is made of. Like that's just part of it. So love fashion in the city. I know you feel that way. I feel that way too, but we're just going to do it. We're going to get up and go.
That is very good advice and so true.
Yeah.
The only way to do it is just to do it.
Just got to do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be full on perfect.
Right.
You just got to go. Got to go.
Just
get
do
shit
it.
done.
A question from Anita. She said, how do you manage calls or other interruptions when you have a back-to-back day?
Oh my God. Thank you for this question, Anita, because today has been a day of distractions. Let me tell you, there's so much noise. I moved the podcast to the house. We're figuring this out, y'all. We are figuring this out. So many distractions. It's part of it, right? So a lot of the things I feel like some of these questions that I get asked, I want you to know that at every level, we feel all of the same things. Like whether you are just starting off or whether you are, in your 10th year in business, everyone has distractions. Everyone has all of that around them. I call them squirrels too. So there's all kinds of distractions, just interruptions, there's distractions. And then of course, even as you're scaling your company, there are projects that come about or roadblocks that are going to be there. That's your job as a CEO, is to avoid distractions and to keep the company at course. That is CEO behavior. That is literally your job, to help everyone, because everyone's distracted. Your teams are distracted. Like that's what everyone does. But your job is to make sure you are making sure that the ship is moving in the right direction, that everyone's rowing in the right direction. That's your job, to keep everyone aligned and prioritized and to keep everyone focused. So the best thing that you can do is lead by example as CEO and avoid distractions. There's shiny new projects or shiny new things that come about, and you set your strategic plans for the company, stick to them. Use those as examples to say, oh, we have this opportunity, but we're going to stay on our course that we've planned and we're not going to get distracted. So sharing those things will allow that kind of behavior from your team. But even when you see the team being distracted, like pulling them together. A couple of episodes ago, I did an episode with Leah Garvin and I talked about the operational cadences as a CEO. Doing those things helps everyone not stay distracted. Like you can keep everyone focused, but distractions are going to be there. And even in the day, right? Even if you're like, I'm setting my mind to doing this today, I have to do 4 episodes today. That's every time we batch an episode. If I tell you the amount of, there's pings that are coming, there's people going in and out of my house, I could totally take on, there's something that came up out right now. I could say, hey, I'm going to pause this and go do that thing. No, like just staying focused and being determined. I will say when we sit down, and calendar planning is something that I do really well, that I think is really great CEO behavior. And I'm like, okay, here's the time that I've allocated to do it. And I treat everyone's time with respect. And I definitely treat my time with respect. So I have decided that I have to go do this. I'm going to get it done. That's how my mind operates. That's what's on my calendar. And I respect that process. And so even if there are distractions, I can get distracted. I can go do the thing. I'm going to come back to what I set out to go do. And those little pieces of trained behavior is what helps me get all the things done. That's exactly what helps me get everything done, is because when I said I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And that is this piece of me that I feel like, I don't know I know exactly where it comes from. It comes from my immigrant parents who didn't have a choice, and they had to do stuff and they're like, we have to do it. This is what it is. And that's kind of what was ingrained in me. But that behavior, I'm really I'm glad that I have it. On the opposite though, your girl needs to learn how to relax, and I have to put in relax time. And I do that and I struggle with it because I'm like, there's so much to do. There's so much to do. And I am learning how to be, and I'm learning how to just enjoy the free time on my calendar too. So I will schedule free time, but I don't have to do something. But if I say I'm going to do it, put it on my calendar, I respect that. And it gives me a high. I don't know. I get excited about when I accomplish it and I check it off. I'm sure, Anita, you do too. And so that's my advice to you is you're going to get distracted, let it come, but keep it, move it back into that direction and check it off correctly. And it's okay if it's good enough. That's another great concept. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it gets done. That is the most important part.
That is so helpful. A lot of people are curious about your career pathway. A lot of them want to know what your first business was.
Oh my goodness. My first business was Stacks Payments, actually. So my first company, I hit it out of the park with that, but it was my first actual business. I will say I did sell eyeliners in middle school. So my mom she'd go to Pakistan, and we had the most beautiful eyes. That is a very Pakistani thing. And we wear, the eyeliner is called kajal, and it's black eyeliner, and it's smudge eyeliner, and it's so pretty, and you can put it in your waterline, and it's just traditional Pakistani eyeliner. And she would go to Pakistan and bring back these, a case of them. And it probably cost $1. I don't even know. So I would tell her I wanted all of this kajal, and I would turn around and sell it for $20 each in middle school. And, just beautifying the world, with kajal. And I did stuff like that all the time. So I had a lot of I just always was excited about, making, I always had a business, and it wasn't just about making money. There was a thrill, and that product was amazing. I love that product, and people wanted it, and there was supply and demand. And I think the first time it was $5, and then it went to $10. I only had 25. And so then I would I'm wait, I could charge more for it. And so little things like that I would do. But my first business was was Stacks Payments. It started off, the first name of the company was Fat Merchant, F-A-T-T Merchant, Fat Merchant. And so that was the initial name of it. We had it for like 5 years before I transitioned it to Stacks. But it was my first baby. And now there's so many more. Once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur.
Eyeliner in middle school. What an origin story that is.
It's true.
This one was really interesting. It's kind of, I mean, it can really go in any direction. Nicola said, "What lessons are you learning lately?"
Oh, Nicola, beautiful question, beautiful name. So many lessons. I feel like I'm really loving who I'm turning into. I love this phase that I'm going through of finding myself, learning about myself, taking the pressure off, not giving like, I don't know, I feel like in this next, like I'm not 40, but I'm late 30s. And just going into this next decade, I'm just really looking forward to what's up ahead because I feel the most comfortable with who I am than I've ever been. And I feel like I've been on a search for so long in terms of proving to the world or proving to myself. Like, I just feel like I had such a chip on my shoulder, so much to do, so much ambition, but I was almost just constantly raising the bar or trying to, fit this and fit that and constant comparison and just not feeling like just good enough and like, or having like, I just was on this chase. And now I just don't care as much anymore about the chase. And all I want to do is be at peace. And that peace is at all costs. So it doesn't matter for work. It doesn't matter for like friends or family or whatever. Like, I just want peace. So I feel like there's been like things that I would have like fought for, or like things that would have offended me, or things that like, or people have done stuff like with like family that maybe I would have been like more vocal about. And I'm just like, I don't really care. Like, I'm just in that zone where I want to protect my peace. And my peace is like for me and my team one. I always say one team. But my team one is my kids and my husband. Like, this is our team one. And so I just want to protect this bubble. And then like the next two bubbles, like just like my family. And that's it. And like, I just feel those are the things that I'm learning is it's okay. Like, put the ego aside. I think that that's a huge part of, I did a lot of work with meditation and just trying to find my spirit era. I really, really connect deeply with the work of Eckhart Tolle, and it's really meta, and I did a lot of work with it last summer, and he talks so much about the ego, and I just loved learning about it and finding ways that it shows up for all of us, and being okay to view myself almost as an outsider inside my own body. So like, even as I'm making decisions, to pull myself out of it so that I could have a different perspective of peace and alignment. And it's just been wonderful. Like, it feels easier right now because I've taken the pressure off, and it's okay. Like, I also don't have expectations of other people then too. So I'm just doing because I want to. I'm doing because I love to do it. The show, moving it to the house is like a really great example of like, don't need the production. I don't need the lights. I don't need this. I don't care if it's on like 100% growth, quarter over quarter. Like, I just want to do it to connect with you. And I'm happy with that. And that is something that took me that whole last decade. And so I'm excited of like what's going to come with this next chapter. And what's funny is it's actually it's actually easier. And because of that, like, I do feel like I feel more in flow, and things are actually moving in all those directions, but I'm not forcing it. And so that is a big lesson and a big learning, and just the work around, with Eckhart was really cool. So I highly recommend checking it out. The book that I really love is, A New Earth, and it's called The Awakening: A New Earth. And I'll link that if you want to check that book out. Oprah and Eckhart do this 10-part series that I love. I listened to it last year. I read did the 10 parts with Oprah, and she's so wonderful in how they have that dialogue. And then I read the book, and then this year again I did the same thing in January, so just a couple of months ago. And I just feel like it's a really good perspective into our egos and pulling ourselves out. So those are some nice lessons. And I will say, if somebody told me that in my 20s or my early 30s, like, I don't know if I would, it finds you at the right time. So focus on your inner work is the biggest takeaway. The more we can focus on our inner work, the better all the outer stuff ends up happening. And it's true. People have said that, but I really do feel it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good question. Very good answer.
Thank you. I love you.
Time for one more. We have so many, though, that we're definitely going to need to do a part 2.
Okay,
absolutely.
let's do it.
Because there were so many good ones. Sarah asked, how do we know what we are doing is worth it? And I think that's such a good way to finish this off.
Sarah, you're worth it. You're worth it. Your purpose is worth it. How you measure that, I wish kind of goes back to that last question. Remove the measurement. How you know it's worth it? Because you feel it. Like, that's it. Like, that's the measurement. It's just about making an impact. The reason why you started, whether it's for one person or 1,000 people or 50,000 people, if you are okay with doing it and showing up to do it for one person, then it's worth it. That only you can account for what that worth feeling is like. There's no KPI tracker. There's no dashboard. I think in business and in life, we've been trained to have these markers as success measurements. And as someone who's checked off all of those, and I love a good CEO dashboard, right? Here, I would say it's just connecting with that purpose that you began it with and staying true to that. When it's not worth it is when you're out of alignment with that purpose, when you're doing it for the sake of like, oh, I have to check the box, or I have to check this revenue marker or this milestone or this thing. That's when it becomes for something else. And so it's so hard. I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know if you're an early stage entrepreneur. I don't know if you are 7th year in your business or you've already exited. That feeling of, is it worth it? Only you can find that answer within you. And it has to do with your purpose. And if you still feel connected to that purpose, that's what's worth it to me. And so there are days where I'm like, oh, is it even worth it? Right? It's so exhausting when feel like you're spinning your wheels. And I would ask myself, like, what if I stopped trying? Like, is that worth it? Right? Is it worth it for you not to bring this to life, or for you to, you might have to change your path if you're not seeing the results. Don't do the same thing, right? So we're going to change. If you're not seeing the results, right, you should try something else. But that move that you're making to try something else is because you want it to be worth it, right? So that purpose right there is what gets you through to find the thing that's going to work. And you have to stay really connected to that. And I will say, remove these large KPIs or these big milestones and stop living in comparison. I think a lot of the times when I had those feelings where I'm like, is this worth it? Or is this whatever? It's because I was trying to measure myself up against someone else or something else or something that existed in my head. But if you just take that pressure off and just serve for what you're serving, you'll find that meaningful connection in why you serve. That is what's worth it. And so connecting back with that. And so I really love this question, Sarah. I think every woman that I have ever met in business, I don't think I've ever met a woman that's ever started a business for like the shit's sake of fucking starting a business. Like, every woman has built a business because she was, passionate about something. She was exhausted from this problem that her child was having, or the school was having, or in her industry that nobody was paying attention to, across every sector. And so when women start businesses, we're so passionate about that purpose on why we're solving. And that to me is worth it. That's why I'm so passionate about investing in women, in supporting women entrepreneurs, and helping women entrepreneurs scale, not just small businesses, but to build big businesses, because your purpose and why you started is so worth it. It really does change the world. And so I'm sure, Sarah, wherever you're tuning in, whether it's your first year in business or 10th year in business, you started with that purpose and that passion. Dig deep into that and serve with that why, and serve with that answer. That's where you're going to find that worthiness that you're seeking.
I mean, I feel like that was a great way to finish the episode. There are so many more questions. We're going to have to do a part 2.
Yeah.
And there were a lot juicier ones that we didn't get to. So maybe I'll convince you another day to really get into those. I'm so glad we did this. I'm really excited for a part 2. You guys can leave questions basically anywhere. YouTube comments, Spotify has comments now. You can leave comments there. Leave us a review with your comments. Tell us how you are showing your CEO behavior and ask some questions in there too. And I'll gather them all and we'll do a very juicy part 2.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next week at the CEO School. Bye, everyone.